Ever wondered how to turn Pokemon cards into actual money? Whether you're a collector, a flipper, or just someone trying to make a side hustle out of this hobby, I'm going to walk you through 5 essential tips on how to make money through Pokemon. And no, you don't need to spend thousands to get started. Let's jump in. But first I want to say thank you for the interest in this video and on my channel. If you like this kind of content, please just drop it a like, drop a little comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll continue to do videos like this where I offer advice, ideas, and opinions just for fun. And we can grow together as a community. But first things first, let's just start small. We don't need to start off with a $500 Charizard, or that first edition booster box that everybody wants. Because in fact, starting small is the best way to learn the ropes. And begin with the cards that you already know. Maybe you just know a little bit more modern, so start out with the modern stuff. Maybe it's vintage, who knows? Only you do. But make sure to look at the cards which tend to be consistently popular, especially the Pokemon, your Pikachus, your Charizards, Rayquazas, Eevee, Evolutions. These tend to retain value and sell a little bit quicker. Start off with just $20, $50, buy a couple of cards and learn how the market moves. Watch how prices shift, watch which cards sell fast and which cards are the ones that stay on your shelf and don't move at all. Next up, you need to understand the market, because the market isn't just about rarity, it's about demand. And demand is driven by popularity, grading and timing. And a good thing to do is to focus on the cards that have a big difference between the raw and the graded card, especially when it's graded a 10, because that gap can make a giant move in your potential profit. And there's also timing to consider, because some cards spike in value with new releases of maybe films or games. We need to start recognizing these trends. And we need to think about how grading maximizes value, because one of the best ways to increase your profit is through grading. A raw card might be worth 10, but that same raw card, when it's graded a 10, might be worth 100. Or even more, who knows, depends on the card. PSA is probably the most well known, so that might be a good bet to go with. They've got a lot of the market, and they kind of dominate high-end resale cards. So like, if you kind of want buy or trust, PSA is probably the best way to go. Personally, not always my favourite choice, but sometimes that's just the way the market goes. But if you're in the UK and looking for the only game in town, Ace might be the way to go, because it's growing quickly. And when the cards are graded, they've got the Ace label, and the Ace label looks absolutely amazing, especially with certain cards. And for some people, that can even increase the value more than other grading companies. And some Ace graded cards are seeing strong resale values. Tag's another one, looks really cool and have really good cases. And they're driven by AI, which is a little bit different to some of the other grading companies. And for some people, that gives you a lot more confidence and maybe a little bit more consistency as well. Because some of the other grading companies, there is a lot of inconsistency issues, let's say. And what I like about Tag is that their grading reports are way more detailed than any other company, and you just can't match it. And it is starting to get way more attention online. Beckett's another company that you can use. They seem to be really strict, and they're quite strict on getting a 10. But that means when you get a Beckett 10, it's quite sought after. But if you don't get a Beckett 10, the resale value isn't as high as some of the others. But it's great if you get a Black Label 10, because then the price skyrockets even more. CGC, generally the same. If you're getting a 10, it's probably going to go for a really good price. If it's not a 10, it's probably not that good. So Beckett and CGC, if you're looking for resale value, probably not the best. If you're a Beckett or CGC collector, probably something really good, something really cool, and some nice cases to have. But just choose the grading service that suits your goals. And we also need to think about where to buy cards and how to source inventory. eBay is probably your obvious choice. There's tons of listings, there's tons of cards, you can find it with a click of a button. And because of auctions, you have a chance to find an undervalued gem. One of the best things to do is look for auctions that are ending at silly times of the night. How many people are going to be awake buying Pokemon cards at that time? You're not really going to be having any major bidding wars at that time of the night. And that can be where deals often hide. Facebook Marketplace can be quite underrated. A lot of people that will sell on Facebook Marketplace probably don't really know the market that well, and you can find some really good deals. And if you know your prices, you might be able to get it for 78% of market value. And if you're buying the whole collection, a lot of the times people are willing to sell for that. And then you break the collection down, take all the singles out, sell them for singles, and you can make a pretty decent profit. It might take a little bit longer, but that's the way you need to do it if you're wanting to make some money out of that collection. It is time consuming, but the profits are real. Vinted is one that's growing in popularity. Personally, I don't find it the best Pokemon cards. I see that the prices tend to be a little bit higher than places like Facebook Marketplace or eBay, but it is worth checking if you're a little bit patient. And I find that people that are selling on here may not be proper Pokemon collectors and might just have spare things going. That's what I use Vinted for anyway, mainly clothes. But you can find some decent stuff, and I have found some decent things, but you have to be careful of the odd fakes, because like me, I have also fallen into that trap on Vinted, and Vinted did not side with me even though they were fake cards. TCG Player is a go-to if you're in the US. Prices are consistent and it can be pretty good for bulk orders, but just be aware it's more of a retail site rather than a deal hunting site. And if you're in Europe, you can also check out Card Market. It's not something that I've used personally, but I've heard good things, so it's always worth checking around the market just to see what there is. And the last thing we need to think about is just rinse and repeat and keep doing the things that you're doing that is working for you. Research the cards that have big gaps between raw value and high graded value. Make sure you're being smart, look for clean minty cards, nothing with a little bit of damage, whitening, watermarks, anything like that. Try and make sure they're at a good price as well. Make sure you're grading wisely. First, you need to choose the grading company that works for you. Then you need to think about, does this card have good centering? Does the card have good edges? Does the card have good corners? And does the card have a good surface? With most grading companies, you need the centering. That's the most important one. If the centering isn't going to be a 10, you're never going to get a 10. If the other ones, if they're maybe 9s or 8s and everything else is a 10, you could probably get away with it and it might still come out a 10. Depending on if it's a company that gives you a grading report anyway. Then you need to sell the graded card. Make sure you check its value and sell it if it's making you a decent profit. Just make sure you look at the last sold on eBay and TCG Player. Don't put it up for what people are trying to sell it for, put it up for what it's actually being sold for. And then once you've done that, you can reinvest your profits into more inventory, look for more cards. Is it good? Is it something you want to collect? Do you know if it's something that's going to move? If so, then get it going, get it graded, get it sold. And it's not rocket science, it's just time and consistency. You just have to be consistent with it, and that's how you're going to make the money. Like, it's not a lottery ticket. It's not going to be something that's going to give you money instantly. It's something we have to work on, have to persevere with. And there's the 5 tips, but just one little bonus tip. This is just something that sometimes people make mistakes with. Don't overpay just because the card is popular. Always check recent sold prices, and if it's something that's new, that's only just come out, the price will go down. Don't worry about it, don't buy into FOMO. Watch the condition closely. Mint is everything. If it's not minty, leave it alone. Start slowly with grading as well. Find the one that's best for you. Send a couple of cards off rather than a massive batch, because if you do send that massive batch off, you might not be happy with the grading company that you've chose. And don't hoard it. If you've got a card that you bought for a £5 and you wanted to be able to sell it for a tenner and it's hit that £10 or $10, sell it. Don't get greedy because the card price might come back down. And if you found this video helpful, please like the video, drop a comment on which tip you found the most helpful, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, where I share ideas, advice, and we just talk about Pokemon in general. And tell me what's the best deal that you've done so far. And now I just want you to check out this video where I talk about how to save a little bit more money when we're collecting Pokemon cards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.